Hey guys, this is Bill on a Monday night, and I'm camped out on Jupiter, and I'm going to show you something. You'll see it on the screen for sure. I'm sitting out here with my rig and my pipe. See my pipe, Captain Black, and I wanted to show you what I've done. If you've been following my videos, you know that I've been looking to get a better focuser, and this is a zoom-all focuser with an SCT mount, and I got it from telescopes.com. It's like a $350 focuser. I got it for like $129. Mike got one too. It's built like a Cadillac, but let me get out of the light here and show you. This thing has, it's immense. See my hand? And it screws right in there. You basically take off this official Celestron backing that was connected back here to the scope, and then you screw this in, and then you tighten up this bolt down here, and then center it, and it actually clears. I have that's my focuser on the mirror. So that focuser right there was manual, but I put a motor on it. And that motor is connected to my computer through this thing called try to show you, a JMI focus control. And then when I'm on my computer, it'll be out of focus, but you can see it. I have this JMI focus control program that lets me adjust this focuser, which basically moves the mirror in and out and adjusts the focus of the telescope. Well, I found that in the process of trying to do with the Barlow and other things, that it was just difficult to get a fine-tuned focus. And what this focuser here does, every turn of this outer knob, it's 10 to 1, so every time one revolution here is 10 here, so one here is a tenth of this one. So basically you have what they call a fine-tuned focus. JMI sells another focuser adapter for this particular zoom-all, and I ordered that today, and basically it'll sit right on top of this focuser here and drive this from the computer. See, when you're focusing manually and you're touching your scope, you're jittering it around. See, I'm going to just touch it and you can see it. See how it moves around? See how it moves around? You're focusing it. So it just about pays to have some kind of remote focuser on your telescope. That way you don't have to touch the scope at all. The other thing you can see here clearly is this camera. I've been using this gem of a camera that I bought for $58 directly from China. It's called USB telescope adapter, and if you search Google for it, you'll see it, and you have to order it directly from China with PayPal, and they'll ship it in about 5 days. The other thing I wanted to show you while I have this thing out, this is what they call a dew protector. See, this fits, the top of the telescope is right here, and you push this, it's made out of heavy plastic, and you push it on, and basically the dew will get inside and around, but will not touch the lens, so it protects your lens from the dew. Henning was having a problem with his telescope with the dew. If he got a dew protector like this, they make one for his telescope, it would, or he could make one himself, but it's just a piece of plastic wrapped around the front, and it protects just the dew is absorbed but doesn't go inside. And the other thing on this is what they call a little spotter scope, and you kind of line up the star or moon or planet or whatever you're lining up through there. There's a little reticle in there, and then you can fine-tune it. One of the difficulties I've been finding with my telescope was when I'm trying to get it all aligned. I start out with this, it's a 32 millimeter Pelosi Celestron. This came with that the lens kit that I got. And basically you put this in, you take that camera out, and you put this in, and then you center the moon, center the planet, center the star right on the eyepiece. And when I have it centered, then I put in this, this is my own invention. I got a 25 millimeter Pelosi. It's a Celestron lens. These are not very expensive. These are cheap lenses. And I put it on top of the 2x Barlow, which is a cheap Barlow that I got with that kit. And basically, it gets me pretty close. And I put it in after I've used the 33. Then I put this one in, and I center it on that. And when I center it on that, the odds are pretty good that when I put the camera in, it's going to be on the screen. So that's kind of the secrets. Now, one of the things I'm going to do when I get this focuser is on the way, the motor for it. When I get it, then I'll start using this thing. I'm not probably going to use it with a Barlow until I really get that motor. But when I do, then I'll be able to use I got a 1.8 Barlow, a 2x Barlow, a 3x Barlow, and Mike's got a 5x Barlow, and we're going to experiment with the exploration of the moon. I'm really excited about this, because this is going to give us a lot of exploring options on the moon. The other thing is on this this focuser, this knob right here, you see, when you finally do hone it in, then you can crank that up and tighten it, and it will lock in the focus. Anyhow, that's a little pre-seeder. I'm going to show you Jupiter in a second, but I'm going to show it to you with a blue. This is it's in there already. It's a blue filter, and then I'll take the blue filter off, and we'll look at it without the filter. I can see 3 moons on Jupiter right now. With the blue filter on, it brings out the lines and the dark rift that's on Jupiter, which if it's facing us, we'll see it, but you can't see as well the moons. So I'll take that filter off, and then we'll look at it again with the moons, and I can see clearly 3 moons. Anyhow, that's my little preliminary. Also, I wanted to mention one more thing before I close. I found that using this remote, and this is the remote I'm talking about. It's the Nexstar remote that came with the telescope. And as you can see, there's a little cord, you know, that normally plugs in right over there. Plugs in right there. On the internet, I searched for an extension cord. There's a company that makes an extension cord. I bought a 25-foot extension cord and plugged it in there, and then plugged the remote into that. So now I have 25 feet of remote, and I can easily run this thing from my chair. I could run it in actually from inside the house if I want to. And it came with a bunch of cord, which, see, I kind of just leave it hooked up to the computer and just bunch it up in there. The other thing I'll mention, because I know some of you guys are getting scopes and everything, when I'm done with this, I take all my cords and I unplug them from the equipment, and then I'll just wrap them around this little spotter scope. And then, since I have this new humongous focuser on there, I'll simply take off this this 90-degree adapter and put a cap in the end, and then swing it upright, and it will clear the base. So if you're into astronomy and you have a Nexstar 8 SE and you're looking for a pretty good focuser that's not very expensive, this one might do the trick. And it does clear the base when you swing it upright, but it will not clear the base if you have this 90-degree on. So I'm going to take that 90-degree off and put it in my lens case. Well, let's take a quick look at Jupiter and see what we can see. Hey guys, we're live on Jupiter with dogs. I hope you enjoyed my little introduction there. I wanted to kind of show you that I've been talking about that focuser for a while, and I eventually did find one that seems to work very, very well. I put the Jupiter up, and I decided I wanted initially to see the rings. And I looked at my charts. The yellow brings out something, the green brings out something, but the blue filter is supposed to bring out the dark rift, which is not visible tonight. See, it would be right in there. It's probably on the back side. And you can barely see one of the moons right there. There are actually 3 moons. But you're going to see those in a minute, because I'll take that filter off and they'll be really clear. I found that when you put the filter on, it might enunciate the rings, but it sometimes does take away from the moons. So I think the best way to see those moons is without any filters at all. Right now we're in the it's called a new moon. I'm very anxiously awaiting the beginning of a new month. The early slither of a moon might be visible on the 28th, and if it is, I'll be out here trying to see it. Pastor Gray wants me to try to film it, and I will. The moon rises right after the sun in the east by about an hour, where I am in Texas, in Richmond, Texas. And it'll be very difficult to see with the bright sun right next to it, but you never can tell. We might see it. I'll see it for sure the next night. As you can see, I live in the country. I've got chickens, I've got dogs, I've got trains. I went on a train kick one time, and I've got all the original magazines from the railroad magazines way back to 1938, and I think I spent a whole year studying trains and reading about them and the nostalgia and the mystique. So I love trains, especially the old passenger trains. You can see though that this, as I let this thing sit, this this moon does have, you can see three distinct lines, bands, but if you look clearly, and it's not coming in too clear, but you see one right there, another one, and below that another one, and below that another one. So if I let this thing sit for a minute, which I might just do now, I'm going to center it and just sit on it and see what I can do with Registack. I might try to put that, if it turns out at the end of my video. Registack lets you take a video, even if it moves or whatever, of an object like the surface of the moon or Jupiter or Saturn, and then over a period of time it will allow you to take those, and it'll take the best pictures and stack them, and then you can isolate the bad pictures, the good pictures, and it puts them all together, and it comes out with a lot more detail than you normally would see. I am looking at something very strange, and I'm not sure if it's an aberration or not. I'm seeing a little white dot right there. See that white dot? I don't know what it is. Let me go away. Just look in that area and see if you see a white dot that kind of comes and goes. You know old Bill, he's always looking for strange things. Doesn't have to be on the moon, it can be on Jupiter too. It looks to me like there's, it might be, it looks like it's stable, so it's probably just an aberration with the software. I don't think it's a UFO. Well, I'm not sure now. Looked like it moved. We'll look at it real close here in a minute with the with that blue filter off. I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of uptight about all these things coming down. I don't know what to think. I don't know what's going to happen. There it is on the 7 o'clock position. See it down there? Right there. Came and went. Starting midnight tonight, which is about 20 minutes from my Central Time, supposed to be earthquakes all over the world and all kinds of things. We'll see. I believe all that stuff when I see it. The only thing I really believe right now is that the new moon marking Rosh Hashanah, the Feast of the Trumpets, on the 28th, 29th of this month, is going to be of some import biblically. I'm not sure what it will be, but I think it's going to be the beginning of something very significant. The jury's still out on everything else, and we'll just have to patiently wait and see. Let me move it over to the center and see if that white dot, yeah, it's really hard to assume that white dot's anything really. Anyhow, that is Jupiter with a blue filter. Doesn't look that bad. It's a lot bigger than Mars, that's for sure. And when I get that motor for that focuser, I'm going to put a Barlow on there and we'll look at it even closer. Okay, I'm going to now take that blue filter off. I'm going to pause this thing and take the blue filter off, and then we're going to look at Jupiter without a filter. Okay, guys, I barely have it. It's a 3 times Barlow, uh, and it is, folks, believe it or not. It's so difficult to pull in the detail. But if you look close, I'll fiddle with the controls in a minute. You can see faint lines on the top. There's one right there. The big line, you've got a spot right there. That might be the dark rift that they were talking about. And then you got faint lines coming down. Now let me see if I can work the camera control a little bit. I'm going to turn the exposure down a little bit. So I turn it up too much, it does bring out some of the detail, but it's such a weak video signal. I'm pushing the limits of this telescope is really what I'm doing. Let's work with the brightness. Let's turn the brightness down a little bit. No, that's my birthmark on the camera. That is not on it was easier to find than Mars, that's for sure. I'm going to turn the contrast down a little bit. Now I'm going to work with the gamma a little bit. See, it doesn't give me much leeway. I'm going to work with the white balance. The white balance will change things, I know. And the gain, if I turn the gain down, well, that's not bad. That sure does fill up the screen with Jupiter. It's not quite as in focus as I'd like, but I mean, that's as good as it can get, even with that fine-tuned focuser. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to let it sit right there for just a second, and then see if I can take a picture of it with Registack. When you push the limits of these things with Barlows, it's very difficult for just about anybody to do it. You can clearly see that spot right there. Okay, let's do this. Let me do what I said I was going to do before. I'm going to take this Barlow off. I'm going to look at this planet Jupiter with just the regular camera. So hang with me, guys. Okay, I think that's our best effort yet. That is Jupiter with no Barlow and no filter. And as you can see, it's in focus as best we can do. We have 2 moons showing. I thought I saw a third earlier, but it might have moved out. I don't think it's there now. And you can see barely a spot right there that is rotating. I tried to show you that with a 3 times Barlow. I should have tried that 2.5 times Paramate, but I didn't think about it because I've never tried that yet, and I'll experiment with that later. In any case, this is a pretty good session. We're getting a pretty decent view of Jupiter. You saw it a little closer. And maybe when I get this motor control for this focuser in, I'll be able to hone in on there on the focus even better. And you can see the moon's twinkling in the night. I think I'm going to sit out here on the porch and just enjoy the night, drink a cup of coffee, smoke a pipe, and watch Jupiter for a while, and see if anything pops up. And kind of wait on the news of what's going on in the world, guys. You better buckle up. Better buckle up. In the meantime, clear skies, guys.